My gracious, good afternoon and greetings to Platinum Universe. You are all turning out to be a fantastic universe. We had some amazing changes and some great consistency and some really good course corrections. You're going to have some fantastic final papers. I recommend that every one of you take your white lines and animate them. Look at how they've gone up and down and how close they've come to the market trends for all five decisions when you have our final decision coming up here. This is a recap for decision 4, which is I'm wearing my traditional ROCE or ROCE, Return on Capital Employed hat. Of all the instructors that work on in sim, I am very dedicated to ROCE because there are teams that actually break into positive Return on Capital Employed. Our course lead, Paul Waterman, who you've seen in our other videos on my Model Sim Professor channel on YouTube, is a big ARE guy. He's like retained earnings are the source of capital if you don't want to go to the markets or issue bonds or what have you. So, and I agree with him, but very few teams ever break into positive ARE. So the ARE of a turnaround is basically we got it less worse, less bad, right? But you can break into positive ROCE, and we did. Both yellow and blue are in positive. Red faltered a little this time, and we'll show you what happened without a lot of extra comments on that. Well, but congratulations to yellow. Our last couple things I said, even though you're dead last and crashed and burned in image, you can come back and you can still be number one. Well, everybody's still chasing blue. Blue's doing fantastic, but not by many points. You're all 2 points away from number one. So you're very close, doing a lot of good, right things. And really proud of yellow for having, changed a huge loss last time and cumulatively an image into a positive image result. It's like, but without talking further, let me jump into our share of screen. Here we have our last period results, and as you can see, red and yellow changed places. Red took a little bit of a dive, and yellow recaptured, jumped up, and are breathing down blue's next now. And our blue team have told me many times, boy, that red, they're catching up to us. We're worried about them, and it's like anything can happen. Just keep doing what you're doing, minor adjustments. But blue has such a strong flywheel going in image that it's pulling all the results up. Strong positive ROCE. Um, Red dropped below positive ROC, not a whole lot, but got absolutely killed in family, as we'll see. And yellow did exactly as we all hoped that they would do. Not all of us, but I was hoping they would do before the end of the sim, which is take a strong look at what was happening in image where they were absolutely burning up. And you'll be surprised to see what happened there. But we're now going into decision 5, preview of coming attractions. It's the most important, amazing decision because something happens with inventory and you have to, I'll post it everywhere, all over Halo, the must watch before decision 5 video. It's a long one. Paul and I did it, our course lead, and it's fun, but it's got a trick in it that the forever last. It could be 10 teams, and the 10th one's been 10th for the whole sim, and then it takes number one because it's a very interesting thing you can do with inventory and not worrying as much about capex. I was worrying about cash flow and strong ROCE and maybe even better ARE, but you'll see the trick in that video that you can do with inventory that really gives you an opportunity to really jump up depending on your inventory position, and which we'll take a look at. So going back to the EBITs, our traditional EBITs, let's look at them. But before that, I absolutely want to show you that you're very close here. Everybody's really close. We all have lots of number ones and number two. The threes are all spread out. Blue is still doing fantastic. The lower the number, the better. 10 is fantastic. If you had all 6 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you'd have a 6 and that'd be perfect. 10 is great. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, look at that. We're only a couple points away. So everybody's number 1, 1 1/4, 1 1/2. So it's like not really 1, 2, 3. Yellow did fantastic. Look at that. Look at the revenues. Just fantastic. Did really good. Red had a little bit of problem dropping down in Rosé because of what happened, as we'll see in family. And also just looking at how good everyone is in EBIT and getting it straightened out without as big of big a drops as we had. So after looking at how close we are, now let's take a look at the our EBIT chart. So here we have it. Do you remember just one decision ago where yellow was so far down here that they were falling off the chart? Not only did they look at the advice and check it out in image, but they absolutely became positive in EBIT in one decision. So we want to see that white line. What did they do in that white line in image? This is something that's pretty interesting. Blue, of course, blue had some problems, as did everybody except yellow in family, which is astonishing when you look at this. Red really crashed and burned in family for we'll see what reasons, but did remember they had some problems in image. They corrected that, getting stronger in image. Everybody did great in image. Eco, which everyone was kind of positive, and red still is. Blue fell a little in eco, and yellow sort of corrected where they were a smaller piece. But look how uniform yellow is. They're not now. They're not almost crashing and burning almost in nothing, as blue is doing real well like that and has only one big one, and red only is the only one left that has one really deep dive in family. So correcting that, everybody's going to be so close next time, you know. And you see what your strengths are. You can see that, red was a lot stronger here, but it had some problems with the gap, a little bit of a gap in number of models. They've corrected that to some extent, but family was a major issue for them. If they got that straightened out for the fifth decision, and then you do the inventory trick, you're all going to be way up at the top here. It's going to be the best decision ever. Still, ROCE hats off to Blue. They've been positive rows from day one, and they still are as a whole overall, um, overall to 1.9 and minus almost breaking into for red in terms of ROSA. But look at blue doing really good ahead. And now yellow is positive overall. And look at those revenues. Look what happened with revenues with yellow. Wow. That flywheel that they were trying to build with the price thing, they corrected the price that was killing them and did really well. What a change by just changing the price, right? They had the formula right exactly, but the price was killing them. Once they got that straightened out, the formula took over, just like it has for blue, and they're neck and neck with red in that line. So, you can go over these. You have them. I'm giving you these snips. I'm trying to get through this quickly so that you can use all the graphics you need, so we're not, dwelling on one or the other. Let's jump into, well, we'll do a quick shot of these so you have them and can analyze them for your final paper and your final decision. That's well, that's actually family. I want to do low cost first, but that was family. Here's low cost. I'm not going to do a lot of communication about these. You can see what happened by team. Although you might be, if you're red, you want to really take a close look at this family line and say, what the heck happened here? What are the major differences? How are we in demand compared to, look what happened with yellow. They built that flywheel and the price was killing them. But look at the prices now. These prices in family. Can you see a pattern here in terms of what's working and what's not working in this pricing in family, which is they're very sensitive, very elastic to there, and nobody's going to get positive ARE in this turnaround. It's very rare to get that, but look at your capacity here, Brad. Brad. So family can be an issue, but you've got to look at kind of the highlights here and what happened with the highlights and why EBIT got so crushed for red here. And you can just kind of, it tells us its own story in terms of this being trying to hit appeal at 100% and effective feel close to 100. Um, Yellow's got it down, blue's got it down. We over-injured a little bit here. Marketing, we're looking for 100 to 110. Again, over marketing a bit for supply and demand. And then looking especially at cost, because Rosé is really driven. There's one slide on the website, which is the biz485.com, in how to beat the sim. There's a huge slide there on ROCE about cost and revenue and profit, and that gives a good idea of what you need to do, how you need to drive it. But revenues in family is incredible here on the flywheels that Yellow have been trying to build. And I guess the bottom line is red needs to carefully look at this line. Everybody else is doing good. Where there's some huge discrepancies, um, why is why is blue doing well? Why did yellow do well? Who got kind of killed in family? Blue, I actually it went yellow, blue, red in terms of um, EBIT in family and blue. Let's look at capacity. Yeah, okay, look at the difference here in capacity. Yellow is close to break even. Blue is a little worse, and red just really got killed in terms of capacity. But then you have to compare that to inventory and who's selling out, who's got a lot left, and who's got moderate left in family. So the least amount of bleeding is like the least amount of inventory here with yellow. Although there was a little bit, some lost orders, but not a lot. So the of course image eco is always up and down, and red is still doing really well in eco. As you can see, let's take a look at the EBIT here and the Rosé. Yeah, the blue is having a problem still here in eco, and yet the other two teams are doing really well. So blue both in family and eco kind of took a dip, but that did not mean anything because they're so mind-blowing in image. So when you go to image and just look at Blue's numbers, they're almost like, all right, this is a pattern we need to have. You want to have close to 100 here. Red's doing good. Yellow's everybody's doing good now in image, but Blue is just absolutely uh, blowing it away in terms of profitability and EBIT. Look at the differences there in terms of the cost per units sold, your gross profit in terms of the amount of costs that are being spread across a much wider market share, and same thing with your plant capacity, although Red's got to be very careful here when you see a minus 19% there. 5% is fine. So inventory left is not bad. So this is just amazing. Everybody's got positive rosé, although Blue's still blowing it away, obviously. 12% is like unheard of. That's amazing because of the good profits they've got compared to their expenses. And they're investing heavily in H&R and quality. They have been the entire sim, which is a hint. Everything else, is kind of self-explanatory as you look at some of these outliers like marketing appeal and yellow, which was an amazing kind of bet they made. And then finally, the prices have gotten straightened out here between, yellow, red, and blue. And they made a major decision there that paid off in terms of making a big swing from where they are. So I guess we've looked at all those lines. Let's hit over quickly and look at our uh, universe charts, especially lost orders over inventory. We'll take a quick look at some of these, just flashing through them. Um, we've got our orders compared to our sales. You can do the overlays. There's to our revenues and all the lines. You can see the growth here, what's happening and what's now getting stale, and EBIT in the lines in terms of also look at family, where we've been investing in family and how the EBIT has changed there. You're either gonna love you or kill you on that. And then let's take a look at these are orders volumes by team in low cost, family. Keep an eye on yellow there. I gotta get this moved up so it's not in the way. Eco tells the stories, orders versus sales. What did we have available to sell, and why did Blue suddenly have a problem in Eco? Take a look at their volume of orders, and you'll see how that affected LOI in a second. That's been a problem for Blue. And look what happened here with yellow. Is that incredible or what? That's basically what comes in, and then what can you deliver is the sales side. So amazing. So let's move from orders to sales, and you can get the foundation for that's image actually, obviously, for your LOI. What's driving it? This is all over the board in low cost. Look at sales with yellow there. That's amazing. Eco, yellow again. Fantastic story. And image, our star line here. Everybody's very, after this last decision, everybody's really moving up. All right, let's see. All right, why orders? What's driving orders? This is important to Rose. Effective engineering. You look at the teams and then the price. Here's the mistake Yellow made last time. Look at that curve. Okay, we're now doing better. And here's our pricing in image. So yeah, it's adjusting prices is very common as you get towards the end of the sim here. And here's our favorite of all time, LOI. We're all trying to get so that we're a lot closer to zero here in what we're producing and what we're or what we're where our orders are according to marketing and engineering and where our sales are and deliveries with our production and the supply side. And everybody's getting a lot closer to being right there at zero. Of course, the consistent line of winning has been consistently balancing supply and demand, and you'll keep watching Blue on how many models they have left at the end of every period, and they're always staying close to zero, and they're nailing both the supply and the demand. Red's doing very well, and yellow's getting it. They're kind of here. Now, if we see yellow here with the trick you can play down here, and all three of us are right here, then it's going to be an amazing sim, and everybody's going to be above positive EBIT, or certainly positive ROSE, and then less damage in the positive EBIT and less damage on the ARE side. So, yeah, is that amazing or what? That tells the whole story of getting those down together. For ROSE, it's important to know about costs and how well are you controlling your costs. And I also keep going on image there, but actually let's go to low cost and looking at the relative costs and comparing how all three have invested in each of these lines, and then how it's come back in terms of was it profitable revenue or not where you were investing. So we've got this sort of blue, red, yellow kind of thing going on, where blue's been the lowest cost provider in each line for a long time, except for low cost, where red has made an effort to invest and dominate in low cost, and you'll see it's paid off in this last decision because even though all three teams are marginally positive, red's done real well in low cost. So that's the cost EBIT driver of EBIT and the driver of ROSE also, and a big part of LOI, where your costs come in matching the supply and demand. So let's jump to the individual teams and look at our white lines. Again, we need to take and animate these and look at how close are you, what are the gaps between the market and where we're deciding. Obviously, Red has made a fantastic investment in low cost, and it's paying off. This is the white line for low cost. Um, let's see what happened in family, whether they kind of got killed. Um, okay, it's a consistent pattern of overspending, but it certainly fits the curve, doesn't it? We really have got by this decision and the last decision, understand those sliders really well in terms of what each the whole value proposition and chain in terms of who wants what. And then after you fit it, how well do the revenues, whether we overspent, what did it bring, and what happened to our EBIT because of matching the supply and demand, which we saw in the lost orders over inventory. Let's see, let's look at eco. Uh, red, red kind of got killed in family, but did okay in eco, right? Yeah, this shouldn't be too bad. Oh, too bad is fantastic. Look at that. Tiny bit of overspend, tiny bit of underspend, but in general, just amazingly great. And there, oh yeah, and red also has highest EBIT in eco. Image, not so much. How well did we, let's see, correct on, how well did we correct on, got better, even though the market is still climbing here. Got better, novelty, that's always roll the dice. Models, really well, really good. This is way down here, a big gap. It's a little bit too far up, but a little bit of overspending, but not a lot. So you'd expect to see positive EBIT from, oh, we do. Yeah, we have positive EBIT in red. So be interesting to see where blue is at with this. So let's do it. Okay, this is a good shot of low cost for blue, where blue has consistently done well here, and still a little bit overspending here and there, but generally dead on. Just these tiny gaps. You'll see these go up and down, and you'll see what happens with demand as investments made in marketing and engineering. The white line changes with your investment, also with the maturity of the line. And as you animate this, you're not animating just the time along here because this isn't time. The y-axis or the x-axis is qualities of the sliders. So it's going to be an up and down slide. So you'll see time is going like this over the periods. When you overlay these into layers, you'll see these going up and down and the blue line chasing receding this line and how close it comes as it moves and how it moves. That animation is absolutely shows the leading indicators, not the lagging indicators. But blue and yellow both been good in family, not great, but positive. So you can see it's a little bit of underinvestment consistently, but not a lot. Following the curve just fantastically well, which you can expect, good strong EBIT. Um, and the eco line, blue kind of Blue kind of took a little bit of a dip on it on the eco line. And was it number of models? There's a couple things where they were underestimating, but not a lot. There was an absolute crash and burn like there was for red in family. So let's look at image, one of our favorites where everybody does great. Just a small I always look at consumption here because that's always an interesting indicator as well as number of models. There's a little bit of a bigger gap of expending in robustness, which that happens. Well, that actually happens a lot in eco actually. But then, yeah, watching our lines chase each other. And finally, without further ado, let's find the yellow and look at our line following with yellow. Decision, we'll go to business lines. Let's start with low cost. Okay, low cost is not doing, they're positive EBIT, which is great, but they're not going crazy in either direction in terms of fantastic flywheel or bad. So there's usually when you see that, you do see this sort of little infinity sign where there's a little overspend, underspend, and the sine curves don't exactly match. But there are some really good, look at this, look at these matches. Those are outstanding. Good job, yellow. Wow, what a comeback. Family. I know I got a text from one of our validators that said, you kept predicting yellow might win. They might win. It's like, yeah, anyone might win. You can never tell. You guys get so good by the end of this. So, all right, what are we doing here? Are we looking at family? Yeah, here's family. Yeah, red didn't do real well in family. Blue matched fairly well, but there was some consistent a little bit of a lack of commitment to, you want to see a little bit more on all of these in family to get into positive EBIT. Uh, let's see, what are we doing with eco? I think eco was a little bit a bigger gap than anything else yeah, eco was a little bit problematic and has been for blue because both red and yellow have been positive. right? And yet yellow here, it's better to overspend a little better than underspend. And I guess that's part of, we'd look for success in eco with yellow. Let me look at the last 4 or 5 decisions. Yeah, yellow's done good, stayed positive EBIT and was really good this time. So again, there's a little bit of underspending in size on eco, but the shift in image is what I want to see for yellow. Look at that. This is great. Even though they kind of overcompensated a little novelty here. Really, the big story isn't not yellow knowing the sliders. They did great. It's just it was a price mistake they made. Anyone can make mistakes. So we had a big price mistake in image that was corrected, and all of a sudden they did fantastic this time. So, the sliders give a good idea of how you're matching effective marketing and effective engineering, but you have to then take the other side of it with the supply and demand and also look at, is your revenue for each sale positive or not, which is absolutely the key. So that is it. I'm trying to keep these down to a half hour, and this is the important and fun last decision. I can't believe the class is almost over. There's a tear. It's sad. You guys have done fantastic. It's been great working with all of you. Some real records have been set in terms of early positive Rose, Rose, and I look forward to seeing you in the fifth decision. And remember on your final papers, don't sweat it. Use all these graphics you have. And if you are a turnaround situation and you did good, tell us what you did wrong. If you crash and burn a few areas, just say, hey, we see what we did wrong here. Here's how we corrected it. And hopefully you found this team experience to be different than things that you've had in the past. We try to make this much more team oriented. You have more projects you can do as teams. All the ships go out with the tide, that kind of thing. And we end up with some lifetime friendships out of the process, helping each other's careers. And since this is going to our last decision, we're not going to have a lot more recaps. Remember, I'm willing and able and love to give recommendation letters to all the teams. This is going back to many executive exercises, and you'll run into a lot of people in companies you're working for or even starting businesses, venture capitalists, securing capital, whatever. That gives you fantastic experience of running a real company. These are used in real companies as well as results in the auto industry where I worked previously, that these sims are all absolutely germane. So I'm happy to give any of you recommendation letters if you stayed this long to watch the end of the video. But now don't forget to watch the before decision 5 video. That's my main advice, because Paul gives some mind-blowing things that are not defects in the sim, but as you get to the end, there's some things you can do because inventory characteristics carrying through to other inventory without having to invest in the inventory, in more inventory, or their characteristics or their engineering. So some of your inventory can become very profitable. So you can take a look at that video before you make your final decision, which is coming up next week. Thanks again.